we live in a world where the level of awareness, the level of consciousness is that of self-interest. The Hindus call it the Kali Yuga, but in simple words, everybody is after their own best interest. And nature has her own agenda. And the agenda of nature is to continue to survive, the continuation of herself. And theoretically, if the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom continue to procreate and reproduce, nature can go on seemingly forever. Now, some people will tell you that the sun is going to blow up in a few billion years. I mean, if you believe NASA, then I get a pen to sell you for $2 million, and I'm pretty sure I'm going to convince you to give me $2 million for it. Anyways, different video. But nature's agenda is, I want to continue to reproduce. So, nature has her ways of convincing the plant kingdom and the animal kingdom to continue to reproduce, to continue to procreate. Animals are instinctual beings, so animals just know it's mating time, it's mating season. And the vast majority of animals will only engage in sex for procreation. Some animals engage throughout the year, and some animals will engage only in certain periods of time. I did a research here on squirrels. I think squirrels here engage their mating season in Ontario. If I remember correctly, it's like January or February to April or something like that. Anyways, squirrels are not, from my knowledge, are not procreating all year round. A lot of animals have certain seasons and they just got an instinct. For example, elephants. Young teenager elephants, bull elephants, they will go into a state known as must. I think that's what it's called, or I don't know exactly if that's how you pronounce it. And they will become raging bulls. Their testosterone shoots up some crazy amount, like exponentially, and they become very dangerous. And they start flipping things around. They start like taking down trees. They get really vicious and really violent. And usually the older, wiser elephants will calm them down. It's actually very important for young males that are going through this phase to be surrounded by older males that, it actually calms them down. It contains and calms and directs that testosterone in the right way. But that's just what's going on in their bodies. Animals are not able to self-reflect like we humans can. This is actually our gift. So they will act on instinct. So in that state, the elephant will go looking for mates, and it will do his entire existence. An elephant's entire existence in that state is to reproduce. Like, there's nothing going on in his head. Everything is about reproduction. He must put his elephant penis into an elephant vagina. He must do it. He just has to do it. He doesn't know what's going on. He just acts on instinct. Now, we humans, clearly we are animals too, right? So it's the same thing with us. And we, most of you guys watch these videos are beyond the teenage years. You remember your teenage years. As a boy, you have an erection all day long, pretty much all day long, because your body is also, full of testosterone, and your body wants. I mean, when you're a teenager, all you're interested in is the opposite sex, because your body's hijacked by hormones. Your body's hijacked by hormones, really, and it's nature's way of telling you to go and reproduce. Now, why do I say we live in a world of self-interest? Nature doesn't care that you're not ready, that you're not a responsible parent, that you're not ready to reproduce. Because let's be honest here, who's ready for that in teenage years? Most adults are not ready for that. Most adults should not be having kids because they're not ready to raise a child. And so, let alone teenagers, especially in the modern day, right? But nature doesn't care. Nature wants everybody, all the animal in the plant kingdom, to pop as many babies as you can, and then survival of the fittest will take care of everything. Nature says, just pop as many babies, don't worry about it, survival of the fittest will take care of it. and so because of that, you have to realize something. You have to realize that you're being tricked by nature, because just because nature wants you to create babies doesn't mean it's the right thing for you, or the right thing for the society, or the right thing for the environment, or the right thing for humanity. I think very few people are actually ready to be parents, which is why the world is full of traumatized people. And so it's very, very important to realize that when you place the opposite sex on a pedestal, and when you're preoccupied with wanting to be in a relationship, then you must realize that a lot of that, not all of it, because humans are more complex, but a lot of it is actually nature tricking you to do that. I got in a relationship in 2020. 2020. And I really wanted to have a relationship. But it wasn't just for sex. I wanted to bond and be intimate with someone. But a lot of it was driven by my biology. And now that I'm no longer in a relationship, I can look back at the whole unfoldment of it, and I can see that in 2020, a big part of my motivation to be in a relationship was driven by my biology. And in fact, now I haven't been in a relationship for a year. In fact, even now, I get horny. I'm a healthy guy. My body's healthy. My body wakes up every day with an erection. Anytime I wake up at night, there's an erection. Anytime I wake up in the morning, there's an erection. It's just sign of health. And even now, I can feel, but see, now I have the wisdom. Now I make moves in my life based on this knowledge, based on this full extent of this knowledge. Just because my biology is tricking me to do something doesn't mean I should do it. I've spoken in a previous video about how I nearly had a child with the woman that I was with. And I told the story, but so I'm not gonna tell it again. But it's true, man. And the thing is, we didn't want to have children, and we were having sex only in the time period after ovulation, because that's even if you nut inside a woman in that time period, still theoretically you shouldn't have a child. But somehow they slip. Nate, I mean, think about it like this. It's a probability game. Even if you're doing everything you want, I mean, first of all, don't use condoms. And birth control will ruin women's cycles and women's health. So even if you're having safe sex, it's a probability game. By safe sex, I mean you have it after ovulation, after the woman ovulates. In that period. Even if you're having that, it's a probability game, man. You have what? You have like 1,000 times you're having sex, 2,000 times. Sometimes something's gonna slip, and nature plays the long game. Even if you're practicing sex without nutting inside the woman, which is what I was doing, but sometimes it's gonna slip, and it's gonna slip at the wrong time or something. That squirrel. Yeah. So it's a probability game. Even if you're taking all precautions, nature just wants you to have a baby. So now I'm going to give you like two experiences here that is common with men and women that will prove my point. For men, it's called post-nut clarity. Everybody knows about post-nut clarity. So if you just play with yourself and then you nut, you have the clarity after. You're like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. But a lot of men, I haven't experienced that because I'm selective with I've always been selective with the woman that I get intimate with. But a lot of men who go on and about and they'll stick their dick in anything that walks. A lot of them will tell you that a lot of times after they nut, they just don't want to be around that woman anymore. because they realize the clarity comes, that urge, that biological urge, nature's trick to create babies is not there anymore for that moment. So they get clarity. I don't really want to be with that person. For a woman, it's postpartum. Is that what it's called? It's after they have a child. It's very common for women for their sex drive to go down and to get depressed. And I read comments on YouTube about that. A lot of women were saying they realized the reason why they got depressed is because they realized now they have a child with a man that they don't even like. Again, that urge has been fulfilled to have a child, and now you go back to your senses. Now you sober up from all the hijacking of the hormones, and you realize you don't want to be with that person. I can tell you right now, man, there's no sexual experience worth having a child that you don't want to have, and worse, having a child that you don't even like the man or the woman that you had it with. And then the other thing is, people who don't have children, they'll put up with their man or their woman. They'll put up with their shit so they can have sex. Like, that's how hijacked they are by their biology, by nature. To me, you're just no different than an animal. You're not actually using your self-critical, your self-reflection and critical thinking abilities, your human abilities. Human beings are superior to animals. We are able to liberate ourselves from the cycle of samsara. Animals can't. And when I say the word superior, it's not that we're better. I love animals. I have such compassion for them. I love animals. I'm not saying we're better than them. I'm saying we have a responsibility. With great power comes responsibility. So we have a superior mind. We have a superior ability to liberate ourselves, to think about these things. We can realize that these things, like, they can't. When an elephant is in must, he's going bananas. He's going berserk. He has no control over it. We have the wisdom to do things like abstinence, nofab, to realize our urges, but not act on them. Now, of course, it's not the only reason we want to be with someone else. It's also just the desire, because humans are social. It's the desire to connect. Intimacy comes not just in sexual way, but in other ways too. So it's the desire to connect with someone else that has a different energy than you, because you're either masculine or feminine predominantly, right? A healthy male is going to always have predominantly masculine energy. A healthy woman will always predominantly have feminine energy. You have both of them, but always one will dominate the other if you're a healthy person. And so there is the desire for intimacy with someone else of the opposite sex, of the opposite energy, and that's another reason. It's never just one reason, right? And for that, I think it's pretty cool if you can find the right person. But even finding the right person, I can tell you something, man. Even if you find the right person, you're always going to give up a little bit of peace. Always going to give up a little bit of peace. So here is my advice to you, if that means anything. Here's my advice to you. If you're going to get in a relationship, make sure it's not driven by your biology. That is not to suppress your biology. That is to recognize everything I just talked about. Like, recognize, hey, part of my desire to have a relationship, to look for a person, is my biology. So just that realization, that illumination, will make you a lot more selective about the person. So choose very, very wisely. And the other thing is, and here I would highly recommend, before you get in a relationship, be totally, completely, and utterly comfortable with your own company. You must love your own company. You must love your own company so much, to the point where you could give less of a shit if you get in a relationship or not. because if you give a little bit of shit about getting in a relationship or not, if you care a little too much about that, just even a little bit, it's going to create needs, a state of neediness that will inevitably arise in your relationship. So that's what I would say. I would say recognize that, first of all, recognize you're being driven by a trick. Because let's be honest here, ultimately, for the awakened soul, an awakened soul realizes that my task in life is to help others right now and to not come back to this again. Is to be free of the cycle of death and rebirth, the lush farm, the samsara, which is the complete opposite of the agenda of nature. You have to realize we have opposing agendas. An awakened soul has an opposing agenda to nature. Yeah, that's about it.